Well, I was down at the creek again this morning. I had to keep checking on my foot valve. Anybody that knows anything about pumps, the foot valve, there is a screen. And because it's being pumped out of the creek, you get some debris on it. And this one does have a flaw. Well, unless we could use it. But when we're trying to get it so that it has a solid base, all you have to do is attach it to something else. That's the beauty of this Ishizukuri. So, in terms of being a rock hound, we should always look for the perfect rock that stands alone with no modification needed. Now, this thing here would be great if there was a white up here so that it looks like a snow cap. But it's not bad. That's why the Ishizukuri, we could take things that are not quite perfect. In fact, some of the stuff is actually lousy, and then we put it together with others, and then it comes out looking like a new project. So anyway, I am blessed with all these tools that have been discarded over hundreds and maybe even thousands of years ago. See, this one has a flat this way and this way. So there's all kinds of ways we could use it. But I don't know. I mean, I just randomly picked up these, and many of them are distinctly a tool that was discarded. And it's been in the creek, right? So it might have had a sharp edge, but then if it tumbles around in the creek for hundreds and thousands of years, you get this rounded edge. So anyway, that's what I feel very blessed in having a lot of good materials to work with. And then, so I've got a few that will be the base. This one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. This one here, kind of a oddball rock. I'm not sure if I could do anything with this one, but what I wanted to do was to just show you what I picked up randomly this morning and then see what I could make. Now, first I'll try to work with everything that I got today, but then as we go on, I'll probably start adding some of the rocks I already have. Okay, right off the bat, I have this one right here, right? That's the base. And then we put the collar. And then look at this. This will be a nice roof. And then I'll need a cap. But I'm missing the light section. I think I'm gonna have to use that, one that I've already made up. And that's why I've been kind of making certain parts that are very difficult to get. So this one here is almost done, just one part missing. And then I'm gonna have to stabilize this guy here, right? But that's what I'm gonna be doing. Son of a gun, look at this. I got this as a base, and then I have the collar now. So things are actually falling into place pretty great. Yeah, according to what was on the internet, they make these instruments that helps to launch the arrow, not the arrow, but the spears. And evidently they use these as weight so that you could get more power to it. I haven't quite figured out exactly how it's done, but I've run across so many of these that had the same kind of pattern. So, I've been through thousands and thousands of rocks, and I began to see kind of repeated patterns. So I haven't figured out what they're used for, but I've seen them. You see that rounded? Well, what I found that on these, if you had this type of rock, it kind of forms around it and then gets real easy to stabilize your rock. So these kind with the curve are valuable in terms of stabilizing the base. See? Now, there must be a reason why it's like that. This is not natural occurring. Why it's like that, I have no idea. But I'm trying to learn as much as I can from. Okay, this is just a trial fit, but I got about a dozen here that is standing on its own now. So I'll get these cemented in place, and then, well, that's what I usually do. I get it so that it'll stand on its own, and then come back and then decide how we proceed on. But just on this rough fit that I just did, it looks like I got about a dozen today. Okay, we're gonna get started getting these attached. So this is the way it wants to, well, this is the way I want it to be. So I'm gonna take this, and I'm gonna put a big glob on it. Those of you that like to be really neat, maybe this is not for you. Okay, here we go. So, and what you gotta do is put enough so that you have all these things that come out. Okay, now I'm gonna use this just to hold it in place. Okay, so you gotta put enough so that it globs out like that, and then either now or a little bit later, see, like that one, I could just leave it. When it's half dry, I could clean it up. In the meantime, I could get these. You see why I use a round table? Big glob. So if you're using a nice table, make sure you put a nice thick layer of plastic. I have this black and there's a clear one underneath. It's not a big deal because these are old tables, but I just go down the line and then get these attached. Okay, a side note, if I were you, I wouldn't make too much of this at one time, because especially this quick set one does set quickly. So if you're poking around, then you got a bunch of things to throw away and or tools that got dirty, and then you got a heck of a time cleaning it. So, see how simple it is? Just don't be afraid to put a big glob. If you don't put enough, have a good chance that it could. If you don't put big glob, there's a good chance that it will come apart. So you push and see how it comes out. Don't worry about it. That's what we're gonna do, is to clean it up. Remember this one here, I would say, God, I'm not sure about this. This is a sort of uninteresting looking one. But if we put this together and this hold it in place, it's got a pretty good start. So all I have to do is just cement it together, right? So even the so-called nondescript or ugly, it always has a chance to become something. And that's the beauty of the Ishizukuri. Just whatever, put it together, and then together it looks nice. Individually, not so great. This one is already stable, so I'm going to the next step, right? And put that in. And then I'm looking, as soon as I find the light section, look at this. This becomes a cap. Or the roof, and I'll put a cap on it. So some of this comes up together real easy. Once again, big glob. big glob, push down. Then later we clean up. Put it over here so I don't forget. Very important because, oh, this is just a side note. See this rock here? Kind of interesting, right? Well, this is the same kind of rock as my Bandito, but I've never seen a pattern like that. This is more of a random streaking, right? So we see a lot of this kind of thing, but the one that had a cross across like that was rare. This big excess, get rid of that. See? That's what you got to do. Very carefully, right? Get rid of this. It's still pretty wet on the inside, so don't bump it or try to pick it up. Just get rid of these obvious, right? Like right here. See, so it's not a hard process, you just got to time it correctly. Okay, for something like that, I have some that is pre-made. The way I look at it, the light section should be slightly different anyway. Okay, sometime I will find some that was natural occurring that will look good too. But see, over this way, that's about the right size. That's why these were the Arizona Sunrise, and then I cut them or broke them and tumbled. I could, if I wanted to go, I could go something like that, more subtle. Anyway, those are all the choices that you could make on your own. Look at this one here. The one that was questionable is the first one done. This was one of the rocks that was in the pile, and it made a nice roof. Whether we put a cap on it, I'm not sure. It looks pretty good the way it is. So now I just got to wait till it sits up a little bit and clean out this excess, right? But you got to have enough there so that it stays stuck. Remember I was saying I was going to finish up the bottom, so I put some more the motor mix or thin set, and it's ready. But what looks okay on this side, but it looks a little raw on this side, so I thought I might add this. Now this is from the previous trip to the pump, but it fits, right? So luckily I have a bunch of them standing by. Okay, what I did was I put a flat top on these things so that it'll stick together and hold better. The reason I'm sounding a little different is I had to have them dust mask because this kicks up this really fine dust. But anyway, I'll be concluding this chapter by showing you the finished product. Well, I let this set up overnight, and it's a new morning. Well, this project was not even planned. I usually start to work on my bonsai when I'm open for business. Well, it was kind of slow yesterday, plus the fact that when I went to service my pump, I picked up these rocks, right? Well, anyway, so I thought I'd show you what happened to those rocks that I brought back. Now I could add 13 more to my attempt at making 1,000. I think this will now push it to 850-ish. So anyway, this is Hiro saying goodbye. Hopefully you're still enjoying some of this stuff that I'm posting. And I'll see you again real soon in another chapter. And I shall get back to the business of bonsai and bonsai improving. Okay, see you again real soon in another chapter.